Good morning. Happy hump day. So there was like a 26, I think, at the last time I saw chain comment in my comment section on the last video where someone made a stupid statement like, John isn't a civil rights lawyer and he's a contract attorney. Now, I saw that and just heart it and move on because, first of all, it's nonsense. I am a lawyer. There's a significant amount of time spent at law school on constitutional rights. In everyday practice, I deal with a subsection of constitutional rights. Notice and an opportunity to be heard is a fundamental right from the 5th and 14th Amendments. And I deal with that every day. Service of process. Notice of motion. They're baked in to what I do. Rights are baked into what I do. Now, I have never done a 1983 lawsuit. I've never claimed to have done a 1983 lawsuit. My track record so far has been pretty good about predicting outcomes on motions and cases and things like that. Unlike a lot of attorneys, I don't bang on about my experience. Number one, I don't have any. I'm just a first-year family law attorney, and I'm going to stay a first-year family law attorney to the day I die. Number one, because it was a joke, not a joke, I should say, a derogatory remark made about me by James Freeman, who I still happen to like. I know my audience doesn't like him, but I like him. I have no ill will towards the guy. A different time, a different place, I think we would have got along quite famously. And James Freeman, if you're ever out in California, I'll buy you a steak. I have no ill will against the guy. But I'm just a first-year family law attorney is what his dismissive comment about me was. And you have to understand, it's just a dismissive comment. It's not, there's no substance behind it. He's not critiquing my analysis substantively. He's saying John should be ignored because he lacks the credentials. Well, notice how they don't say these same things about Lane Myers or Chili Decasto. They don't critique them for not being a civil rights attorney, right? Like, these guys aren't even attorneys. I guess Lane Myers is an attorney in his own mind. And Chili Decasto is a 50-year constitutional law scholar or some shit. But they don't level the same critiques at them. So it's a nonsense. Like, you have to understand that they have no real legal argument against what I say. So you just have to accept it. Like, it's just an insult or an attempt at one. It doesn't really land very well, again, because I deal with constitutional rights on a daily basis. Maybe not the subset of constitutional rights that they're talking about or that they find huge interest in, but it's still, I swim in the soup, it's part and parcel of being an attorney. You can't get away from them. They're baked into our legal system. But the contract lawyer thing, it's literally a requirement by the bar, probably in most, if not every state, that any retention, anytime you retain an attorney where that attorney anticipates that they could bill more than $1,000, maybe through recovery, maybe through hourly work, maybe through a hybrid, who knows, who really cares? But anytime that an attorney thinks that he may bill more than $1,000, he is required to, mandatory, have a contract. No way around it. So every single civil rights attorney, guys who actually do the 1983 lawsuits, they have contracts. They're contract attorneys. They have to be. Maybe you're not contracting directly with the attorney, but you're contracting with the law firm that then provides you the attorney based on the contract every single time, all the time. It's a nonsense. Like, it it did not require 26 plus maybe now comments from people trying to defend me. I mean, I get it. I appreciate it. Like, I understand where you guys are coming from. But you got to understand, these guys are looking for attention. They're looking just to piss you off. They're looking to piss me off. They don't catch me on the hook, so they try to catch you on the hook. I don't need the likes. I don't need the comments. I'm not monetized. I mean, it gives me something to like look at if you guys make a comment, you know. Thanks for the engagement. I get the warm fuzzies knowing people are watching my content, liking it, disliking it, whatever. But I mean, if you get aggravated about it, like don't bother to defend me. I don't need it. Like insults by these people don't bother me. Like, I don't know how to tell you this. And there are a lot of people in my comment section who, you know, I'm not trying to be mean. You're just not worth responding to. That one guy, Peter Coventry / whatever. He goes by multiple names. I have one name on my tablet and one name on my phone. And like, why do you have like what look to be like legal first and last names that are different? Like, I get if you have like, you know, like Billy Bob's tablet account and Billy Bob's cell phone account. But like, why would you have two different legal names? Oh, because you're doing some fishy shit. Anyway, like that guy, like I have to assume he's trolling me because he says the dumbest shit and like completely stupid, obnoxious, contrarian comments. So you just give him a little heart and move along. I don't need people to defend it. TubeSock. Oh my God, TubeSock is a great troll. I know he's a troll. And I say that, you know, that's not an insult. Like he's an engagement farmer. He gets his jollies off by getting people to, you know, get their panties in a twist. And people try to respond to him as if he's a good faith actor. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? It's hilarious. It's hilarious when he actually catches a fish on the hook and you know, they're like, are you stupid? Blah, 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 this or that. And he's just like, yeah, Lane Myers won his appeal. Oh, that dude just cracks me up when he catches a fish. Oh, that guy's just hilarious. But again, like, I don't know if it's because my audience is primarily boomers or what, but like, you guys just get suckered in on all this stuff. Another guy made a comment in, I think, that 26 page or that 26 comment ramble argument reader, something like that, for public safety, something. I don't know. His name rings a bell. I think he's an auditor, but he's never been interesting enough for me to pay attention to. I'm sorry. I don't mean that as a slight, but it's true. But anyway, this one guy who's like Dr. something, he's like, you know, I watch all these auditors and they just infuriate me. Then bro, why are you watching them? There's so many, like, life is full of good stuff. Like, if it makes you mad, why are you doing it? You're not changing anything by arguing with people in comments, especially not disingenuous people. I guess it's a skill that you have to learn over time, figuring out who is and who isn't being a honest actor in the comment sections. But if you're not sure, just assume they're being dishonest. Because the internet's full of people who would never act like that in real life. You know, I guess Lane Myers is as tall as I am. We're both 6'2". But I don't think he'd step to me in real life. He wouldn't be holding me on his knee and using me as a puppet. I mean, I'm not as young as I once was, but I'm more armed than I once was. By the way, speaking of Lane Myers, so in the probation report, apparently he has a history of violence. And I take that seriously. I take, you know, my safety and my family's safety seriously. And so this, you know, Lane Myers, if you ever see this, you are trespassed from my property. I don't want you ever to show up because you have a history of violence, and I'm not going to play that. I'm just not going to play that. You like to make threats, and now that there is some substantive verification that there is a history of violence with you, you're not welcome on my property. If I see you, I'm not going to say I'm going to give you the David Earl Warden treatment, but police will at least be called, at a minimum, because you are not welcome on my property. Speaking of dumbasses, I guess Chili Decasto has filed a lawsuit against the Clark County Detention Center. One of the allegations that he made is that there is no rule on using your phone calls to live stream. Now, I went to the Clark County Detention Center webpage. I think it's a subset of the Las Vegas Police Department's webpage, if I remember correctly. Just a 10-second Google search. And on their section on visitation, they have in-person visitation and remote visitation, i.e., a Zoom call kind of thing. Not sure exactly how they do it. I'm sure they have their own proprietary software so they can monitor these things. But on the remote visitation, which is not a phone call, but it could be. Remote visitation could be. There are some things that will cause you to lose your privileges and or have the call terminated. One of those things is nudity. I don't think there was any talk of nudity, but another thing that they listed on there specifically was live streaming. Chili's argument that there was no specific restriction on live streaming seems to be, from a 10-second Google search, contradicted by the restriction on remote visitation from live streaming. All right, I'm not his attorney, and I'm not the Clark County Detention Center's attorney, so I don't know. There seems to be a restriction on live streaming. I could be wrong. I think the big issues that Chili Decasto is going to have are statute of limitations issues. Now, he filed this on July 10th, and he was released on or about July 10th, 2 years ago. And the statute of limitations is 2 years. Now, anything not related to his release would have happened more than 2 years prior. I don't believe the statute starts running from the day you're released, because you have the ability as a prisoner to file a 1983 lawsuit. There's the Prisoners Civil Rights Act or something like that. You do, while you're a prisoner, you have to exhaust your administrative remedies before you can file a lawsuit. But your statute of limitations is told, I believe, while you're, if I remember correctly. Double check me. I mean, don't take this to be legal advice. This is me sitting in my car, not having looked at the particular act. It's in like 42 USC something. I don't even remember, and I'm not going to guess. But I didn't have, an attorney I worked for had a guy who was in prison, and he filed the lawsuit while he was in prison. And then he got released, and then he came to the attorney that I was doing work for to amend his complaint. And so the question at that time was whether or not that particular act controlled, because he hadn't finished the administrative process when he was released. So I didn't know if that's one of the things I had to look into, but that was at least 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. So I don't really remember all the details on it. But he did have a cause of it. He could start the ball rolling while he was in jail. So I don't think the statute of limitations was told while he was in jail. It would have been told while he was going through the administrative process, but I don't there's no allegations he was going through the administrative process when he was released. So that's going to be a question. Statute of limitations is going to be a huge question on a lot of those things. Some of the things they're not going to be violations of his civil rights. There are some, though, that are questionable, that may survive motions to dismiss. I mean, if they don't get kicked out on statute of limitations grounds or qualified immunity grounds, because qualified immunity does come into play. If they don't get kicked out on those grounds, those might survive. And I haven't done any research to see if like those rights are clearly established, those alleged rights are clearly established. Because my general position on Chili Decasto is that his lawsuits aren't very interesting unless and until he actually gets an attorney, because Chili doesn't know how to prosecute a lawsuit. He doesn't know how. So everybody's like, when are you going to cover the Chili Decasto lawsuit? Well, it's not really interesting to me because Chili doesn't know what he's doing enough that even if he has a good claim, which I would not suspect any of these were, like if Chili walked into my office, let's say that I was licensed to practice in Nevada. If Chili walked into my office and wanted to hire me on this, and I was licensed to practice in Nevada, I would, before I let him retain me, I would want to do a little bit of research to see where these claims were at, because if they were good claims, I might even do it on a contingency. But I don't, just my gut instinct is I don't think he's got good claims on this one. He certainly doesn't have damages, and that's going to be a real problem. Like, one of the things that you have to show in order to get a decent recovery is damages. You could get $1. You could literally get $1 in damages. So, I mean, you do have to prove damages, and like having to shave in a mirror that isn't a good quality mirror. I mean, what are your damages? Like, how much is a cut from your razor because you couldn't see your face properly? And how old do you have to be able to shave without a razor? I mean, I understand I haven't shaved in a long time, but back when I was shaving, I was able to shave without a mirror, I should say. Back when I was shaving, I was able to shave without a mirror. Like, I didn't need it. I'd shaved my face enough to know how to shave my face that I didn't need a mirror. You put the shaving cream on, and if there's still shaving cream there, you run the razor over it again to get it. Like, oh, here's more. Okay. Okay. But I guess, everybody has their limitations, and I shouldn't judge Chili for his, because he can't help them, I guess. So, my default position on any lawsuit that Chili files is he's probably going to lose. And if he gets an attorney, then I'll pay more attention to it. If he doesn't get an attorney, my default position is he's probably going to lose. And it's just because he's not an attorney and he doesn't know what he's doing. And he's never shown that he knows what he's doing. So, what are you going to do? Anyway, one interesting comment was from the Angry Vet. Last thing. I know this is getting long. On the post that I put up about Ladenmeyer's New Mexico lawsuit, it was a screenshot of the case page showing the plaintiff and the defendant, which at that time was just the New Mexico State Police. I guess now he's amended it to include the New Mexico Department of Public Safety, whatever, something like that. Again, not really interesting, because I don't even know if he's going to be able to prosecute it at this point from jail. I mean, maybe he can, maybe he can't, but that'll be interesting to find out. So in response to that picture, he's like, "Oh, aren't you an attorney? Don't you have access to Pacer?" And yes, I have a Pacer account. So I respond, I know you're not an attorney. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. And yes, I have a Pacer account, but Pacer's just for federal cases. There's no state cases that I'm aware of on Pacer. I've never seen a state case on Pacer. It's designed for the federal government, and I've only seen federal government cases on it. cases filed in federal court. I've never seen a state case on Pacer. That doesn't mean there hasn't been one, but that's not what it was designed for. And New Mexico doesn't put their state cases up on Pacer, at least not that I'm aware of. So I'm like, yeah, I know you're not an attorney, but can't find state cases on Pacer. So who brought up state cases? But see, at that point, I'm like, okay, so you're going to be dishonest at this point. You're going to pretend that you weren't responding to a picture of a state case. Okay. So I cut it off at that point. I'm like, okay, if that was your best attempt to pivot, then, I guess you're retarded. Have a great day. But anyway, my point on that is not that I'm like some that I have some amazing ability to infer when people are acting in good faith or bad faith, but I have interacted with enough people that I think I have a pretty good grasp on it. Maybe sometimes I'm wrong. Maybe I just assume bad faith too often, but your blood pressure doesn't spike nearly as much. Trying to convince a retard that they're retarded is, generally speaking, a losing proposition. Trying to engage someone in good faith when they're engaging with you in bad faith is generally a losing proposition. You're never going to convince them because they're not willing to be convinced. They're not open to the truth. So, if you get wound up in the comment sections, maybe just assume everybody's in bad faith, mock them and move along. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.